what's up? Welcome back. I want to talk to you guys today. Well, the first thing I want to say, sorry, I just ate peanut butter toast because I was hungry. Anyway, first thing I want to say is thank you all for being so understanding that I didn't post a video last week. I was just not in a good place, and I've learned that anytime my mental health is suffering, that needs to become a priority for me. So, as much as I felt guilty about not posting a video for you guys last week, I really just needed to take a break and kind of step back for a minute. If you watch my last video that I posted, I did share about a little bit about my domestic violence story, and sharing about that and putting it on the internet. And with everything that's in the news right now about this Gabby Petito case, has been really triggering for me. And I have remembered a lot of things that I hadn't remembered previously, etc. But anyway, I was just not in the greatest place, and I didn't want to put out a video that I felt like I wasn't going to be able to put my heart into it. And every time I tried to sit down and film, I just couldn't. I just wasn't happy with what was coming out. So thank you guys so much for that. Also, I wanted to share with you guys that it's the first week of October, and October 4th is my anniversary day. I never really like how I say that because I don't know. It just feels weird for me to say anniversary about something, but October 4th is my first day sober since my last relapse. So on Monday, the 4th, I got to celebrate 3 years. 3 years in recovery. And I want to be honest with you guys. And the whole reason I wanted to come on here and talk about it was because, recovery is a ever evolving thing. And I always tell people, not to get cocky in your recovery. And I tell people that because that was told to me, like at the very beginning. I can remember some old timers telling me, when you get to X amount of years, don't get cocky in your recovery. And that's something that stuck with me. And I try not to get that way. And I actually have more of a problem not being cocky about my recovery, but more having my addiction and that little voice inside of my head telling me that it's not enough, that, it's not enough time for me to talk about it. It's not enough time for me to celebrate. And every year when it starts to come around, I struggle with it, to be honest with you guys. And I struggle with it because that voice in my head, told me right off Monday morning not to post on my social media about my 3-year anniversary, not to make a video about it, not to bring it up to like family and friends if they didn't remember, because I didn't have enough time. And unfortunately, that is a battle that I fight all the time. So, to be completely honest with you guys, Monday, I spent a good part of the day at home by myself. And that was my choice. My daughter called. My daughter always remembers my day. And so she, reached out and was like, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Let me take you to lunch. And I was like, I really need to film videos and stuff like that. So let's do it later on in the week. And I got off the phone with her and I was like, proud of myself. And that's rare for me to be proud of myself. Anytime I accomplish anything, I always tell myself that I could have done it better, bigger, sooner, whatever the case may be. I always downplay my successes. And I feel like that's something that happens a lot to people that are in recovery, that we downplay our successes. And I try really hard not to ever let myself forget what my bottom was and how that felt. Just to remind myself that I don't ever want to go back there, number one. And number two, how far I've come. And sometimes that's really hard for me to remember and accept how far I've come. So Monday, I spent a good part of the day just being down in the dumps and telling myself, oh, if you'd have started sooner, you would be celebrating 5 years or 10 years or whatever the case may be. I was just really, beating myself up about it. And around lunchtime, I would say Monday, I was like, all right, stop feeling sorry for yourself. If you don't want to make a post about it, that's fine, but you can't just sit here all day, waste the day away, etc. You need to get up and start doing something, put your big girl panties on and be productive today. And one of the first things that I wrote down in my planner was to remind myself that I needed to pick a topic for group and start getting ready for group. And when I wrote that down, I sat back in my chair and I was like, well, look at that. Because that's not just a group that I participate in. That's my group. My group that I help facilitate for other people that are, that are patients there. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is being an advocate for people who use drugs, people who are in recovery, just being an advocate for those of us that are more quiet and not as outspoken as I am, because I'm a very outspoken person most of the time. So it was like, I wrote that down and I'm sitting there thinking, and I just got this overwhelming sense of gratitude, because 3 years ago, I was in no shape to go in front of people that are patients at a maintenance facility or, for what is considered a counseling group or anything like that. I was in no shape to facilitate a group like that. And here I am 3 years in, and I get to help these people. I get to be their voice for them. Sorry. And that's massive, because that is something that I have known since the very early stages of my recovery. And honest, before I even had a long stretch in recovery, I can remember being in active addiction and thinking, man, I wish I could help other people that are like me that, want to find a way out and they don't know where to start. I can remember thinking that, still being in active addiction, needing that help myself. And so when I got into recovery and I dedicated myself to it, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. This is just me speaking from my personal experience and how I feel personally. But when I got into recovery and, really dedicated myself to it, and I was like, no matter what, I'm not going to go back to that. No matter what. That's not saying that I don't have contingency plans in place if something happens. That's why I try to be really open and honest with people in my life if I'm feeling, some type of way, because then it helps prevent that. But we can talk about that in a whole nother video. So I have wanted, to help people that suffer with substance use disorder, that have mental health issues, etc., for a really long time. And when I was sitting there Monday and I got to write that down, it was like God just reached down and was like, hey, you, give yourself a little credit. And so I did. I took the time to sit there and think about how far I've come and how many accomplishments I've already made in 3 years. And, I try not to say just 3 years, because that downplays the amount of time that I have at my recovery. And that's not fair to me. And it also doesn't portray the message that I want to portray to people, because I constantly hear people say, oh, I only have a week. I only have a month. I only have a year. I'm one of those people. And I always tell other people, I'm very quick to defend other people when they say that and be like, no, don't say only, because every day that we are here and that we're working on ourselves and working on our recovery and being an active part of our recovery, not just, doing the surface layer, because you guys know that I say it all the time that it's not just about putting the dope down. Every day that we do that and we make that conscious decision to choose us and not go back to what we've known for so long and what our brain likes to tell us is comforting to us, our addiction, that's a fucking win in the books. That is a win. So I made a decision that I was going to make this video, and I tried to sit down and film it the other day. Oh, and I was like, no, 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 no. And I do that, with all of my videos. I'm very, very hard on myself about them. And so this morning, I'm filming this Wednesday morning. You guys are going to see it Wednesday afternoon. And, looking back, I wish I would have turned the camera on Monday, because I know that there's somebody else out there that's like me that does the same thing to themselves. And I find with a lot of people and with myself, when we are in recovery, we are our own worst enemy. We self-sabotage ourselves a lot. Whether that's continuing to hang out with people that are actively using, or whether it's like the negative self-talk or not believing in ourselves. A lot of times it's not just outside forces that we have to battle against. A lot of times it's here, our own voice telling us that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve this, that we can't do this. And ultimately, that's why I decided to share this with you guys and make this video, because I don't want anybody else to feel like that. And I know that my video isn't going to prevent that. I wish that it had the power to do that. But if anybody ever watches this video, I want you to know that every day that you have in recovery, every minute, because recovery sometimes isn't just one day at a time. Some days it's 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time. I want you to know that that's so important, and you should be proud of that. You should be very proud of that. And I'm saying this also to hold myself accountable, because next year, if I do this to myself again, I want to be able to come back and watch this video and be like, you know what? Like, pull your head out of your ass. You are doing good. You deserve a little bit of credit. And I'm not saying to be like, like I said, like cocky about it, or I don't know the word that I'm trying to use, like patting myself on the back, conceited. I'm not trying to be conceited about it at all. But when we get into recovery, there's a lot of times where we don't have people cheering for us. Whether it's because that we burned so many bridges while we were in active addiction, or that's what our family and friend dynamic is, or just, that the stigma of it all prevents people from cheering for us. That's really hard sometimes. So not only do I want to remind you guys, but I want to remind myself that sometimes you have to be your own cheering section. Every day counts. And the only person that can't find recovery is somebody that doesn't have a heartbeat in them anymore. So every day that we're here, every day that we're working on our recovery, or you're taking steps to better your life, whether it's working on your mental health or working on your substance use disorder, or whatever the case may be, that's a celebration. You are worth all this, and you deserve the pat on the back. And I don't just mean when you get to a year. Every day. Doesn't matter if you just are starting today. It doesn't matter if you started yesterday. Every single day that you have trying to fight this addiction and winning is a win, and it needs to be celebrated. And I just want to remind you guys of that. And I just want to be honest with you guys and let you know that I struggle with that too. I am literally my own worst enemy. I tell myself that, it's not enough, and that I can't speak on my recovery and it, like, time wise, until I have 5 or 10 years this time. And you know what? That's bullshit. And we shouldn't be telling ourselves that. We shouldn't tell other people that because it's hard enough dealing with the stigma and the, you know, general public telling us that we're not good enough and that we're not going to make it or that we don't have enough time in recovery or whatever the situation may be. It's hard enough to deal with that, but when you also have a voice in your head telling you all of those things, it's 10 times harder. So I just wanted to come on and share with you guys and tell you that as of Monday, since my last relapse, I have 3 years. And in those 3 years, I have done a lot of personal growth, but I've also done a lot of tangible accomplishments that the world can see. And for those, I'm really proud of those too. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist. I'm a certified Narcan trainer. I get to facilitate my own group at a clinic that helps save my life and help those people that are coming in and be a voice for them if they need that. And I don't care what day it is, that's good stuff. That's major stuff. And I'm going to take that win for today. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. And that's all I have. I'm going to end today's video here. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I love you all so much. If you need Narcan or if you need to be trained in Narcan, you guys know the drill. All my contact information is in the description box below. Please be nice to yourselves. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.